Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It's been a bit of time since our day became a god set review, but the best ever Why Shore set review show is back for episode 8, and today we're going to be talking about Symphogear XV or 15. I don't know which one it is. It's funny that today is episode 8 because Symphogear has almost had 8 sets so far in its long-running history in Y Shores. But unfortunately, it's never quite had the kind of meta presence that maybe a set of its stature should have. And today we'll be finding out if this new set will do enough for the set to make it more relevant than it ever has been before, or if we're going to be a little bit disappointed. But with me today are two Symphogear experts that are going to give us the best possible evaluation of this new set. First, I'd like to introduce Garrett, all the way hailing from Germany, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Garrett, for those out there who don't know you as well as me or Yue?
Yeah, sure. My name is Garrett. I'm from Germany. I'm playing White Schwartz since 2013, so quite a long time, and I'm very enthusiastic about the game and pretty vocal about things that I like or not like.
That is certainly true. We appreciate, everything you say. And last but not least, coming out of COVID forced retirement, we have Miles, aka Uncle Butts, aka the guy behind the Lunch Before Weiss Schwartz blog. I talk to Miles quite often, and I guess it took another Symphogear set for him to, come back to us. Welcome to the show, Miles.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. Yeah, I mean, there isn't a whole lot to say. I'm Butts and Coconuts, Miles, whatever you want to call me. On that blog that Thomas mentioned, Lunch Before ws.wordpress.com, I've actually been writing an article series about Symphogear. On Monday, I've caught up and I've spoken about the first 5 Symphogear sets to kind of give some historical relevance to the sets. And, I'm going to also be making content that is more pertinent to, like, the set today after I've gotten a chance to mess around with this new set. So keep an eye out for that stuff coming out.
Alrighty. And I think everybody will notice we have a missing person. We do not have our constant host, Yue Peng, here today. He is
where's Yue?
He's playing TFT probably. He's probably going to be in the chat too, but he'll likely deny that he's playing TFT at all. But we all know what he's doing. I could probably open League right now and see him playing right now. We decided 4 is a little bit crowded, so today we're going to give it a go with me as the host, and we have double the expertise here because we have 2 very qualified Symphogear experts with us today. Before we get started with the set review, though, I'd like to cover the usual housekeeping stuff. So we'll go over the ratings real quick. First, we use a 1 to 5 star rating system. And I'll start with 5s first. So 5s are cards that are very unique, very powerful. They are cards that we all know. When we think of a set, it's the first one of these 5s are some of the first cards we think about. So examples are like 3-2 Kurumi from Dao, or Clean Cut Runner K from Kaguya, or the Shiki Finisher from Summer Pockets. These are very powerful cards that almost no other set has. And that's why they're given 5s. They're cards that you buy a set for, essentially. Moving down, 4s are just generically good profiles. So these are cards such as good early plays, good level 1 climax combos. These are cards that you essentially buy when you're already decided on what set you want to play. these are like staples. These cards go in almost every deck that you could think of from the set. 3s are a rating given to cards we're not entirely sure about. So these are cards that, for some reason or another, they're just a little hard to evaluate. So, and that's usually either because they're a unique effect that we've never seen before that also isn't super powerful, or obviously powerful rather, and or it might be part of a deck that we're not entirely sure might be any good at all. So examples of 3s would be like the Old Man Level Assist from Slime, the 1/1 Level Down Level Assist from Assault Lily, or the 1/0 White Queen Field Swapper from Data Bullet. These are cards that are just kind of weird, so we give them 3s because we're not entirely sure. We can't like give a concrete answer as to how good they'll be. 2s are just kind of generically okay cards. These are usually utility 0s, utility 1s, level 1s. Stuff like Drop Searchers, stuff like okay level 0 pluses like Oversizes and Vanilla Mill Runners and Free Runners, stuff like that. These are cards that almost every set gets and almost every set plays, but they're not like so good that, you know, they're not good enough to be 4s essentially. 1s are just bad cards. Simply put, if we give something a 1, it's because we think it's bad, and you probably should avoid these cards. And with the ratings out of the way, before we get to the show, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Nova TCG, Weiss Tea Time, and Strictly Broken TCG. Nova TCG is the best source for Japanese Weiss Schwarz singles in North America. They provide a super easy shopping experience for, you know, the entire range of customers in North America. And, you know, they also ship internationally, but the biggest benefit comes from people buying in North America. Oh, there's UA. Weiss Tea Time is your number one stop for Weiss set spoilers, as well as a host of great, well-written articles that are very informative. Always check them out, you know, during spoiler season for a set that you're interested in, because they have the information presented in a really nice, really well presented way. And Weiss Tea Time also happens to host all of our slideshows for these set review shows. So check out Weiss Tea Time as well. And of course, last but not least, gotta thank Strictly Broken TCG, because we stream on their platform. Thank you, UA. With that out of the way, let's move on to the cards. The thing everybody's been waiting for. And we'll start right off the bat with yellow. First card, 1/0 Hibiki. This is a Climax combo with the choice pictured in the bottom right. When this card attacks, if you have the choice in your Climax zone and you have 2 or more other music characters, you may choose one of the 2 following effects and resolve it. Effect A. Look it up to the 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 music character from amongst them. Show it to your opponent, add to your hand, and then send the rest to Waiting Room. And effect B is Twin Drive for free. What do you guys think?
I like this card. Symphogears really lacked a lot of like good generic plussing combos at once, so I think this is a great addition to the set. What about you, Garrett?
Yeah, I think so too. You had before like one quote-unquote lackluster combo with a bad trigger, and now you have a plussing combo that mills your deck for free, or you can even choose to get more stock. That's pretty good. So you even have a power of choice. I would give it a 4 because of this.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy 4 as well.
Sounds good. Off to a strong start. Next card. Another Hibiki, also a Climax combo. So this 3/2 Hibiki heals on play, and is a Climax combo with a different choice pictured in the bottom right. If you have the choice when it attacks, you may pay 1, ditch 1 to give this card the following ability. Up to once per turn, when this card's damage is cancelled, you may deal 3 damage to your opponent, and if that damage is cancelled, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent.
So I like that this card is a healer and the cost for its combo itself is low, but I'm not really certain of how powerful I think the combo actually is. So, what do you think?
the fact that it's already a healer is a pretty good start for a deck, because it's also kind of hinting that you want to play eight choice. And the combo itself has a pretty good kill potential for opponents from like 3-1, 3-0, but the reach is just not this great. So in securing games, it's good. For having a huge turn, it's not so good. I still think it's a pretty decent card in Symphogear, as I said, so I would give it a 4.
Sure.
Also quite cheap. I'd like to note that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 stock for triple combo is pretty good.
And 4 is totally reasonable. Next card. 0-0 Hibiki and Miku. On play, you may what the boys call surveil, the top card of your deck. And this card also happens to be a tap self search brainstorm, but it only hits on choice climaxes, and you can pump 1k power for every hit.
Yeah, so it's clearly just a brainstorm payoff for the 8 choice deck, which seems like it's going to be pretty okay because both the combos seem pretty solid on their own. So I like this card a bit. Just the little extra you get,
Yeah, it's essentially Brainstorm 5 the first time you use it in a 8 choice deck. So it's pretty good. It's a solid card for the 8 choice share. So I think it's a 2 though, since the applications in other decks are just not there.
Yeah, it's a bit more narrow, and there's a lot of other brainstormers to pick, but it's good. But it's probably only a 2.
Fair enough. Next card, 0-0 Hibiki. When this is played, there's going to be a lot of these cards in the set, so when this is played on stage from hand, you may ditch a music character, and if you did that, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Your opponent can choose a character or an event from amongst those 2 cards. You add it to hand, and then send the other card to the waiting room. And then also on play, you may discard a music character to search your deck for up to 1 Gungnir event, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. And I'd like to note, this Gungnir, there's not only a new Gungnir event in the set, but there is also a bunch of Gungnir events from previous sets. And this event, or this card rather, searches all of them. What are your thoughts, guys?
So this is a necessity if you want to play with the Gungnir event at all. Not only does it search it, but Gungnir names this card in its card effect for resolving the effect. And all these events, there's a bunch of these events in searchers. They're all paired with a second utility effect. I don't totally like the second utility effect on this Hibiki. It's kind of my reservation.
The second utility effect is kind of just additional text, I guess. It's neat that it does something else besides searching the event, but that's kind of it. Also, the Gungnir event itself is a cool design, but sadly you can just get out Hibiki level 3s with this on level 2. So the card is not this good in context of the event. So just a 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We'll talk more about the Gungnir event, later on in this color. Next card. 0-0 Hibiki. During your turn, this gets 1k power, so it's 3k during your turn. And it's also a clean cut. Has Symphogear had a clean cut before?
It's had a clean cut for red cards.
Oh.
So this is like the first generic clean cut that Symphogear has, but 3k is just super standard. Nothing like to write home about, I think.
Yeah, it's nothing to write home about it. Indeed. You have quite a bunch of possible power pumps in the series though, so I would give it a 4. It's a good card, it classes you on the level 0.
Yeah.
It's not a 4 in every deck, but in most of them, for sure.
Sounds good. Next card. 1-0 Miku. This is when this card's battle opponent is reversed, you may send this to memory, and then if you did that at the start of your deck's draw phase, choose this card in your memory and play it on any stage in any slot. Or play it on stage in any slot, sorry.
So this effect is usually called Time Machine, I guess, or Usual Girl. I don't really think there's a place for this card in the set, though. Pretty cool that it's a rare, though.
Yeah, I also think it doesn't have any place in the decks of a series you can possibly build. You for sure can do fancy stuff in maybe a standby shell, but that's about it. I give it just a 1.
Also, not to interrupt Thomas, but I think we missed a double R for yellow.
The alchemy one?
The 0-0 Miku.
Oh?
Yeah.
You started on the 1-0 Hibiki.
Uh-oh. Let's talk about that real quick then, actually.
Sure. A little impromptu.
My bad, guys. Yeah, let's talk about that. So, let me get the effect real quick.
Sure.
How did I miss that? Okay.
It's,
So... Right. Okay. So, the 0-0 Miku, it's not gonna be on the screen, unfortunately. But when the card attacks, you may choose one of your characters, and it gets 500 power for the turn. And when the card is reversed, you may pay 1, clock the top card of your deck, to search for a music character and add it to your hand.
I think it's great that Symphogear finally has a generic clock search, honestly, or like clock plus at all, whether it was search or salvage. So I'm very happy that they printed this Miku.
Yeah, I'm also pretty happy that you have applications to even get to level 1 first with a meaningful ability. And searching for now already decent combos you have in this set makes it even better. So I would give it a 4.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright. That sounds totally reasonable. 4 it is. Next card after the 1-0 Miku that we just talked about. This is a 2-1 Miku. It's a 2k assist to level 3 hierarchy characters in front of this card. And when you trigger a choice, you may look at the top card of your opponent's deck and then scry it, top or bottom. And you can rest this card to pump one of your music characters 1k power for the turn.
So this is supposed to be another payoff for playing a bunch of choice attached to a back row, which is something we've been seeing a lot recently, I think. But I don't know what I think of this specific ability.
Yeah, I'm also not sure about the payoff for 8 choice, but in general, it's a very solid card. If you play yellow, it's a level 3 assist who gives 2k, and you even can pump 1k more. It gets quite relevant these days with all the standby decks around. So, I guess it's a 4, I would say. If you play yellow, you'll for sure play at least 1 copy or 2 of it.
Yeah, just the extra power pump on it makes it more versatile outside of 8 choice.
Okay. Sounds good. 3-2 Hibiki. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, this gets -1 level in hand, so it's an early play. If you have the Gungnir event in your level zone, this gets 2k power. I think this works for any Gungnir, but for reasons we'll talk about later, the new Gungnir is probably the only one that'll be in your level zone. So it'll be 11k power. And on play, you may check top X, and X is the number of music characters on your board.
So top X checkers, they're fine in a deck as like something you run low counts of if you're trying to look for like your level 3 climax, typically. Like that's my experience with them. So it's nice that this is printed, but the power condition and it being an early play don't really excite me as much.
Yeah, I'm also not very excited about this card. I'm just happy Symphogear finally got in the 7th set a top X checker. It's already something, so you can throw it in for low counts to check for your climaxes or other things you might want to have on level 3. Or maybe even already on level 2. So I would give it a 2. It's a solid card you can include in your deck, but you don't need many of them.
Alrighty. Next card, 0-0 Hibiki. On play, this is what we call a blinker. When this is placed on stage from hand, you may send one of your opponent's characters to memory, and then your opponent can play that card from memory to any slot on the stage. And it's a drop searcher on play as well.
Pretty nice to see these like really narrow utility effects attached to cards with a more generic utility effect. So I think this card's really good, actually.
I also like this card quite a lot. It has a drop search ability, so you can fix your hand, and also you can remove nasty power pumps during your turn, or minus soul abilities. I would give it a 4, actually.
Yeah.
Blinkers are pretty relevant now, so I think
even
4
if
is
you look
pretty
at
appropriate.
Even if you look at recent leagues of cards, there are coming quite a few of them.
Next card, 0-0 Hibiki. When your other music character is sent from the stage to the waiting room, if this is in your back row, you can send this to the waiting room instead, and the card that got sent to the waiting room comes back to the stage in its former slot rested, and you may rest this to give one of your music characters 1500 power.
I like this card quite a bit. The power pump is great. Symphogear actually has a lot of ways to pump power, both back row and front row, so you can actually get your stuff really big. And then there's a lot of applications for like what you could be protecting. So, depending on what your important characters are, cards like this can be like central pieces of a game plan. So I like this card.
Yeah, I also think it could actually make quite a huge number in standby decks, just so you can throw out characters that don't have Encore and even keep them on board and cross important power lines. So for now I would give it a 3, but I think it has potential to be very good.
Sure.
Sounds reasonable to me. 1-1 Hibiki. This is what we in the biz refer to as an Adachi. It's stock kicking anti-change bomb. I think this is pretty simple. What do you guys want to give it?
Probably just a 2. I think it just kind of fills a hole in the set.
Yeah, 2 is more than enough for this card.
All right. Moving on. 0-0 Miku. This is a 1k assist to level 0 or lower characters in front, and this also happens to be a level 0 stock bomb.
I don't like this card a whole lot. I don't think it's a great combination of abilities, personally.
I'm very confused by the design, to be honest.
It's modal.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. For 1, that's good.
Yeah, 1 seems fine.
1 seems fine to me as well. 0-0 Miku. On play, if you have another music character, this gets 2k power per turn, so it'll be 4k. And this is a level 0 climax combo. When this reverses a card, and you have the picture choice in the bottom right, this is not the same choice as the level 1 or level 3 combos. You have to mill 3 cards, and then choose up to 1 level X or lower music character from your waiting room, add to hand, and then choose one of your characters, and it gets 1k per turn. And X is the number of music characters milled by this effect. So it's like a Operation Tornado-esque salvage here.
Yeah, I don't think it's very good though, just as a level 0 combo.
Well, level 0 combos all at some point, I think. I don't think so, right?
I don't know, but I don't think it's a thing right now with this card.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And 1 is more than enough for this card.
Yeah,
I'm down. Next card, 1-0 Miku. This is... This is an awkward
What?
framing. This is not... It just looks weird.
Well, it's because you put the cards together and it's cute.
During your opponent's turn, all your other music characters get 1k power, and it's a yellow card. Interesting. And Alarm, if this is on top of your clock and you have 4 more music characters, at the start of your climax phase, you may draw up to 2 cards and then ditch 2.
It is a little weird that it's power on opponent's turn on a yellow card, but the only interesting thing about this card is the Alarm ability. Garrett and I actually talked about it a little bit, and why don't you're the one who actually brought the card up to me, so what were your thoughts on it?
I think it's a pretty interesting card. Even though you might not gonna be playing yellow in, for example, a standby deck, you can for sure throw it in to get climaxes in hand and standby targets in the bin on level 1, since most likely you won't have a lot of characters on level 0. And also, if you standby it out for some reason, 1k power during your opponent's turn can actually keep your board alive. So just for those 2 applications, I would give a card a 3. It has potential to be pretty good.
Yeah,
but might also be pretty trash.
Yeah, it's just it's something that I think needs testing, but it's interesting.
All right. Next card. It's the...
See, I told you.
What do they call it? It's the Legion.
Yeah.
I know Vanguard. 1-0 Hibiki. During your turn, if you drew a card during your clock phase, this gets 3k power. Let's just...
Yeah, give it a 1 and...
Let's just read it.
Yeah, 1.
Yeah, 1. Yeah.
Don't you see the synergy? You clock the Miku for Alarm, and then this Hibiki's huge.
I think the way this is phrased... Okay, we can just move on, but
just
I think...
get 1 power.
I'm just joking.
Wow.
Next card, 1-1 Miku. This is a 2k backup. It's mills 3 when you use the backup. Pretty simple.
Like a 2?
Yeah, 2 sounds pretty good. Having the option to put in a middle counter is always useful.
Relevant in a choice 2, I guess, since it has a trigger.
I guess.
Marginal things. 2-1 Hibiki. When you play this card, if you have 4 more other music characters, you may stock a music character from your waiting room. And also, up to once per turn, when you play any of the Gungnir events, you may pay 1 to salvage a music character from the waiting room. And when this card attacks, it gets 1k for every other music character. So it'll be 10k on attack with a full board.
This card's really weird, and something I mentioned in my articles a lot is that the change events are kind of clunky. I think adding these cards to your change event turn just kind of makes it clunkier. What do you think?
Yeah, adding those cards makes it for sure clunky, but in general I like the card design. It's pretty interesting. And if you have 2 on board, if you use an older event, you can basically chain those cards until you have no stock.
Right.
But that's kind of it.
It's something that I think we could test. I'm comfortable giving it a 3, but I also don't know how strong a Gungnir based deck is going to be, so
I'm probably just good with a 1.
A 1? Okay.
Yeah.
Too spicy?
Yeah, too spicy for me.
Sure.
Next card. Is this the final card in yellow? Yes, it is. We end yellow with the aforementioned Gungnir. So this new Gungnir event shares the same name as every other Gungnir event that has ever been printed. There are three of them. But this one, if you have 3 or less music characters, you can't play this from hand, so you need 4 more music characters to play this card. Keep that in mind, guys. Don't lose games because of this. You may choose one of your standing 0-0 Hibiki event searchers that we talked about before, number 6, and send it to memory. And if you did that, choose a character or choose a Hibiki in your hand, play it on play it on stage in any slot, and then at the beginning of your climax phase, choose that same event, choose any event searcher in your memory and add it to your hand. And then you can send a card in your level zone to the waiting room and place the event itself in your level zone. That was a mouthful.
So, yeah, it is a mouthful. They did the level swap thing because everyone has one level 3 that has a payoff for having their event in memory, which is like kind of interesting, but I'm not super excited by Hibiki's level 3s as like early play targets in this set, and like this can early play any Hibiki, right? And I don't think her old cards are that exciting for this either.
Yeah, there's at best one level 3 you might want to early play, but that's about it. The event design in itself is pretty good in my opinion. I like it, what they did. You have like a meaningful package of cards you can put together, and you keep the whole theme of the series running.
Right.
So for this one, I would give it a 2, just because the targets are not that great.
Hey Josh, what's up?
I think that's fair. Like, we'll go into more detail with each character, but you know, some characters have better 3s than others.
All right, and that was all of yellow. We'll take a 5 to 10 minute intermission. We'll catch up on chat. You guys can go to drink if you need one. But let's see. I guess Miles.
Jason.
Yeah. You can. I think Garrett already answered this question, but you can give your thoughts on it, Miles. This Soy Sauce Gamer says, "I know Japan still plays Time Machine in some builds. I assume they mean like in like other decks." And they're asking if would you say in like a choice list is it not valuable at all?
I think an issue that the choice list will run into is that it needs to have ways to pump power for the 1-0 combo, and because you'll be 6k power with a climax. Then that means that your time machine, like you're gonna have to choose between pumping your combos and your time machines, and I think that's a little awkward. Maybe if the Hibiki gained a bunch of power inherently and didn't need the help, the time machine would be more interesting in 8 choice, but right now I think that's kind of an awkward situation that deck is in.
I totally agree.
Okay. Did you have any other thoughts on it, Garrett? Because I know you did answer it, but...
Yeah, I just think you can run better cards than this.
Mhm.
If you run yellow at level 1, you could even throw in some green cards to have access to a level 2 beta that pumps power, actually.
Alrighty.
To soul beta, not level 2.
Quick couple things. So this event here, every other girl has an event just like this. I'm not gonna repeat the effect for every single event. But basically the template is you can only play these events with 4 or more music characters on board. You send the event searcher to memory, and if you did that, you can play any character with the girl's name from your hand. And then you get the event searcher back into your hand from memory. And then you may also replace a card in your level zone with the event. All the events are like this. So I'm not, and it's a lot of text. I'm not going to repeat it every single time. Just letting you guys know for the future cards. And additionally, I also polled our 2 experts for cards for repeat it every time, please, bro. I'll call you and you can read it for me. I polled our experts for their thoughts on the best level 3s that they could think of playing with every event, and unfortunately, Hibiki just doesn't have great cards. So that's why there were no Hibikis after this event. But for some of the other girls, we're going to have some older cards, not from the set, that we'll talk about briefly after we talk about their respective early play events. Are you guys ready to go on to green?
Yeah, one sec.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, let's move on to green guys. Starting right off, this is the first green card. Okay. 3/2 Kirika. On play, if you have another music character, perform one of the two following effects. Effect A is heal 1. Effect 2, you may put the top card of your stock into waiting room, so pay 1 essentially. And if you did that, draw up to 1 card, and then choose another copy of this Kirika or the 3/2 Shirabe pictured below in your hand and play it on stage in any slot. And then this combos with the bar in the pictured in the bottom left. When the card attacks, if you have the bar, look it up to the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put them on top of your opponent's deck in any order, and then send the rest of the cards to waiting room. And then this turn, the Kirika gets 1k power.
So I like this package a bit, like thinking of this with the Shirabe, because the Shirabe has the same play from hand effect. So what you're trying to do is play a change event and then cascade a bunch of these out from your hand for cheap, and then you draw a bunch of cards, and then you can start pressuring with their combos from level 2.
Yeah, I also think this card is pretty good. Even better if you consider you have more or less 8 early plays like this, where you can chain into each other with different kind of abilities while not making a lot of minors in hand. So I would give it a 4.
Yeah.
All right. And right up next, we have the companion card. I believe they even coordinated the art. It kind of coordinated.
Yeah.
It is coordinated, right? That's Kirika's arm on the left.
Yeah, you'd have to like overlap them, I guess.
Yeah. An actual Legion. 3/2 Shirabe. Again, on play, if you have another music character, you may perform one of the two following effects. So effect 1 is heal. Effect B, you may put the top card of your stock into waiting room, and if you did that, draw up to 1 card. Then choose 3/2 Kirika pictured below, also the card we talked about just before, or another copy of this Shirabe in your hand and play it on stage in any slot. And this combos with the same bar as the Kirika did. Experience. If you have either event, either Kirika or Shirabe early play event in your level zone, you may ditch a music character with the bar in your climax zone to burn 2.
Yeah, so I like this for the reasons I like the Kirika as well, as a level 2 game plan, and I like that she has a relatively cheap burn for her combo, and then you kind of get to do some interesting mix and match stuff based on how many of one you field over the other, and then you go into combat with the bar. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I also like this for the same reasons as I like the Kirika. So a 4 is at least the number you want to give this. Maybe could turn out even more relevant at some point.
Alrighty. Next card. 0/0 Shirabe. On play from hand to stage, it gets 50% power for the turn, so it'll be 2k. And at the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, if you have another music character, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 1 or higher card, you can return this card to the deck and then shuffle and draw 1.
It's like a very strange version of Time Machine. Sorry, not Time Machine, Coin Flip. It's a little weird that it gets the power on play, because it'll only be 2k if you do that. But I'm not sure if I like this effect.
I'm not sure either. It has a little bit of synergy with like runners, so you can, let's say, field 2 of them, get lucky with a coin flip, and then move your runner, but that's kind of it. The interesting part is actually that you get a different card back instead of a coin flip.
Yeah. The problem with that, though, is usually coin flip decks, they want to, like, they don't mind getting the level 0 back early game. And also, this is kind of an awkward turn 1 play because you need another character.
Yeah.
That's true.
I would give it a 3.
Yeah,
It has potential to be interesting and good, but it might turn out pretty bad.
yeah, the draw card definitely is better late game, I think, than a normal coin flip.
Image mitigation, something to
Yeah,
think about.
or just turning the card into a more relevant card potentially.
Yeah, that's actually the application I see.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Next card, 00 Kirika. Global 5 to all your other music characters, and when you trigger a bar, you may ditch one to look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, add it to hand, and then send the rest to waiting room.
Just like a super basic assist for a bar deck. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a payoff for playing a lot of bars, but that's it. So I would just give it a 2.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next card, 00 Shirabe. When you trigger a bar, choose one of your characters, and it gets 1k until the end of your opponent's next turn. And this also happens to be a tap self search brainstorm.
Again, it's a payoff for playing bars. Not a whole lot to say, honestly, but like it's a fine brainstorm for the bar deck. It's like the right colors, it's the right character, and if you want to play double bar, it supports your game plan pretty well.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to this. Just give it a 2.
Yeah.
Next card, we have a Climax combo, 10 Kirika. If you have 2 or more other music characters, this gets 1k power, so it's 5,500 power all the time. And at the beginning of your encore step, if you have the bar pictured in the bottom right in the climax zone, not the same bar as the level 3s we covered earlier, if this is in the front row and you have 5 or less cards in hand, and the slot across from this has either no character or a reverse character, you can salvage a music character from your waiting room.
So this is better than the last 2 Kirika bar combos, which both have name restrictions on them. So I like that more about this, but it's still only going to be 6,500 with the climax, which worries me a little bit.
Yeah, the power is for sure a concern in this day and age where everything gets needlessly big or is super tiny. But green will have some ways to pump power, so it could turn out pretty good. And if you want to be a nasty player, you can even play an old anti-savage, since this plays around it.
Right.
So I would give it a 3, just for the possibility of being good.
Yeah.
Next card, 2-1 Kirika. This is a level assist in front, and when you trigger a bar, you may ditch a card to look it up to the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among those 2 cards, add it to hand, then send the rest to waiting room. And experience, if you have either the Kirika or Shirabe events in your level zone, you may rest this to give one of your characters 1,500 power.
So it's a bit more limited than the Miku we talked about. That was tap, give 1k. But it's nice that this is another like bar payoff assist that scales better in the late game compared to the Global 5 we already talked about.
Yeah, for sure. Also, having the ability to pump another 1/5 with experience is also quite nice. This essentially means you can give one of your cards you played early 3k from this card alone. I would give it a 4. If you play an bar deck, you play this for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Next card. I'd also like to mention real quick, if you happen to have 2 of these effects on your board, it's kind of cracked, but next card, 00 Kirika. This is an event searcher, so let's see. On play, ditch a music character. You can search your on play, ditch a music character to search for the Kirika early play event from your deck and add it to your hand. And also on play, discard you may ditch a climax to salvage a music character from your waiting room.
I like this pairing of the utility effect with the event search a lot, actually, especially given the color. So it pairs well with bars. But Kirika doesn't have any old level 3s you really want to play, and Shirabe does, so it's a little awkward to compare the two cards.
Yeah,
I think
that's certainly true. There's at best one Kirika you want to play early, and even this would be quite finicky. The utility for discarding the climax is pretty good, so therefore I would give it a 2, just for the discard outlet.
Sounds good. And we have, the counterpart Shirabe. This Shirabe on play, you may ditch a music character to search for her early play event from your deck. And on attack, it's a console. So exclamation point console.
Yeah. So not a whole lot to say. I think this is going to be the more important one, like in the bar deck as your early play choice, because of a tech piece you can pick that's an old level 3 Shirabe. And the on attack effect is still a discard out in like your bar decks. So I think this card's pretty good.
Yeah. If you look at the card in a vacuum, it might be inferior to the Kirika we saw before. But if you look at the possibilities you get with this card, it is a 4 for me.
Yeah.
You can do so many early play things with it.
Sounds good to me. Because I know what Shirabe is really good, and we'll get to that later. 1-0 Shirabe. On play, you may pump one of your music characters 1500 power, and then when this gets sent to the waiting room from the stage, you may reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you revealed 1 or more, you may choose a music character from amongst these cards, add to hand, send the rest to the waiting room, and then discard a card.
A pretty good pairing of abilities. Power Pump's going to be relevant with a number of the combos. Either this new bar combo or there's a on reverse combo in blue that I think is pretty strong. And then the on death Rize is, Symphogear hasn't really had generic mill like this, so I'm pretty happy to see it.
Yeah, I also like this card quite a lot. It's pretty good, free mill, power pump, all you need. Only downside is it's green, so you might not want to be playing this in every deck.
Yeah, it's a level 1, so it's a little harder to fit in.
It's a 2. Just because of a color demerit it has.
Sounds good. Next, 1-0 Kirika. This can't side attack, and for every other music character, this gets 500 power, so it'll be 6/5 with a full board. And you can pay 1 at the beginning of your encore step to rest this if you have no other rested characters in the front row.
The future of Taige, I guess. I don't know. This is interesting. What do you think about it, Garrett?
Yeah, I like this card a lot. It's 6/5 essentially, and it has encore 1 in most cases.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts actually. You can even throw it in as a standby target in standby decks, just because it's going to be 6/5 and it's 0 cost and has encore 1.
Yeah, it'll stick around.
Yeah, I would give it a 4. I like this a lot.
Alrighty. Next card. 2-1 Shirabe and Kirika. On attack, if this is attacking a level 3 or higher character, this gets 6k power, so it'll be 13k if you're attacking a level 3 or higher card. And you may pay 1 at the beginning of Encore Step to rest this if you have no other rested characters in the front row.
Generally, I think I prefer the old green early play killer. If you want to go into that, Garrett.
Yeah, the old early play killer is a 2/2. It has 2 soul, gets the same amount of power, and has hand encore. I like this more.
Yeah, so it's probably just a 1. Like, I think Symphogear just has better choices for this sort of slot.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. 2-2 Shirabe. During your turn, for every other music character, this gets 2k power. So it's
14/5.
14/5? with a full board.
Yeah.
And then on play, if you have 4 more other music characters, you can stock a music character from your waiting room. That is huge.
This thing is so big, actually. Like, it's crazy.
If
What do
you
you think?
remember the level 0 Hibiki from before that can rest something if something gets bonked on?
Yeah,
Be cool
the
together. 16k?
yeah, it'll be 16k. It dies, and then you get it back for free, and you paid 1 stock for it up
And
front.
this is also 2 soul. So
Yeah, no, this card's actually really cool.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on it being the play in most decks. I would give it a 3.
Yeah,
It-
I think
it can
there's
be
something
super
here.
strong, but it can also be super meh.
seems like the possible play in like 1k1 decks that run green, right? I would imagine.
Might be.
Wait, did I give it a 3? Give it a 3. Go that for a sec. Okay. Next card, 0-0 Kirika. On play, this gains the following ability until the end of your opponent's next turn. During your opponent's turn, this gets 3k power. Okay. And then you can rest one of your other music characters and send this standing character to your stock.
Yeah, but it gets power until the end of your opponent's next turn, and not only during.
I don't. Go ahead, Thomas.
No. You can go ahead. I'm just a little confused. I'm sorry. It was just weird to read.
I don't think I like this card very much. I guess I don't understand what the design is, because if it's this card lives your opponent's turn and then you can rest a character to send this to stock, then if this lived, it could have attacked and made a stock. So is there something I'm missing, Garrett? Do you see anything here?
I'm not sure either. It could mean you can spend more stock on level 1 for other things, or on level 2. Or you can just play it in the back row and leave it there for 1 turn if you want to get another stock. It has for sure potential. It can be a plussing level 0 since it's 3-5. It's kind of big. And that's kinda it. I would give it a 3 since it has potential, but might also be super whoa.
Yeah, like I acknowledge that I might be really underrating or just not understanding when I would want to use the stock ability. So I'm at least interested to kind of play with it because of that.
Yeah, the pair of abilities is for sure interesting and something new.
Be used late game for
nothing
extra
like
stock,
this.
by the way. I think some other decks,
Yeah.
like Madoka, have effects like this, where they can just like...
Yeah, but the
have
Madoka one doesn't make you rest another character.
True.
Yeah, so I'd say 3. If this was closer to the profile of that Madoka card, I think I'd be more confident in how I felt about it. But I just want to see how it plays out as a demerit.
Alright. Sounds fine to me. This is a pretty interesting card. Next card. Oh, yeah. 0-0 Kirika. If this is in your front row center slot, this gets 3k power, so it'll be 3-5 if it's in the center slot. And on play, you may pay 2 to bounce one of your opponent's characters.
I actually like this a lot. It's another one of those like narrow utility effects, in this case being bouncing, but if you draw this at 0, you could just play it as a 3-5 and maybe plus with it.
Yeah, it's for sure a card you want to play almost in every deck as a one-off. Since bouncing cards occasionally comes up if it's assist you want to bounce, or just big walls in front row. And it can also plus your level 0, so I would give it a 4.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the rare level 0s that bounce something, that does something besides this. That's relevant.
Yeah. Sounds good. 0-0 Shirabe. When this card's damage is not cancelled, it gets 3k power for the turn, so it'll be 4k if it doesn't cancel. And when this reverses a character, you may draw 1, ditch 1.
I don't like this at all. It's a bad common, I think.
Yeah.
So the draw one, drop one is pretty irrelevant in my opinion, but the power condition is super bad. And
Yeah.
banking on luck is not a thing you want to do. So I would give it just a 1.
Sounds good to me. 1-0 Kirika. I believe this is another combination art. This is just a 2K backup. We can just rate it and move on to the next art, I think.
Just a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.
The 2. And here we have the partner art. It's a 1-0 Shirobe. On play, mill 2. If there's a level 0 character in the cards you mill, this turn, this card doesn't, suffer a soul penalty when it's side attacking. Excuse me. And then when this was reversed, you may pay 1 to salvage the aforementioned Kirika backup.
I'd like this a lot more if it were a level 0, but as a level 1, I don't think it sees any play.
It might see some play, but it's super niche. It's a 1 in my opinion. Having one card in hand for 1 stock is cool, and having no side penalty is also cool. But the 1 color makes it kind of awkward.
Playing the Pocky game. So sad.
They are playing the Pocky game.
1-0 Shirobe. On play, both players resolve the following effect. If you have 5 or more memory, choose 4 cards from your memory and then send all other cards to the waiting room. And also on play, look up the top 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 2 of those cards and then rearrange them in any order. And choose up to 2 of them, put them on your top of your deck in any order, and then put the rest in the waiting room. So you can choose 1 card, the other goes to waiting room.
I feel like that's the first time we've seen that. Like, check 2 and then you can mill or leave them. Like that's
on
pretty
play.
interesting.
Yeah.
On play. But again, it is attached to a level 1 card, which is a little awkward for like flexibility. Personally, I haven't played with this memory effect, but I know I've read it before, but I don't know how good that actually is against memory decks.
I mean, it certainly can shrink down the memory against super compression memory decks, but that's kind of it. The second ability is quite interesting to me, and also that it apparently costs 1k power. Or even more, I don't know. Yeah.
What would you rate it?
I like this. I would give it a 3. You for sure want some number of cards in some decks, but it depends how the quote-unquote meta-defining decks for Symphogear end out.
Right.
If it's on color, you play it for sure, and then it might actually even be a 4. And if not, it's just a 2, because it's a generic good card.
Sure.
Sounds good. Next card. We are on to the early play events. So, this is an early play event for Kirikas. I'm not going to read the effect again. The event searcher is pictured on the slide. What are your guys' thoughts on this one?
So Garrett mentioned that there was one Kirika you might consider early playing, and I think I know which one it is, but which one did you have in mind? So of the old Kirikas specifically.
Yeah, it's from the set before, from the AXZ set, where you can give basically a character hexproof and 1/5 power with a resonance card. This might come in handy in, for example, a choice deck, where you can give your finisher hexproof, and she also burns on play if you top check a music character.
Sure, but that's kind of specific though. Yeah. Overall, like we already alluded to this, but I think the Shirabe event is just stronger with context. But I think this event is still a 2.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Huh?
All the events basically read the same. It says pay 1, have 4 characters on board, get an early play.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Turns all your level 3s into 4 more early plays, kind of. Next card is the Shirabe early play event. This works with all Shirabe cards. The event searcher is pictured in the bottom right, and this event you guys like a lot more. Why is that?
Do you have a slide with the card or no?
I do.
I mean, I think we could Yeah, so this Shirabe is it's the same as the Asuna assist from Sword Art Online. It's plus 2k to front with optional memory kick, and this is like a pretty rare effect. And I think having access to this as one of your early play targets outside of standby could be really powerful, because I think this card is one of the draws to playing standby.
Yeah, and fun fact: if you get it out with the event, it also heals.
That is true, because you play from hand.
Yeah. So the card is one of the big payouts if you play Shirabe. If you play Shirabe, if you play the Shirabe event package, you have basically access to 3 good cards you can play. It's the assist we have on this slide, then the double R from this set, and then an early play from the set before that has a condition of 4 or more other characters. So you can actually play 2 of those healers with one of the events. Since you get the 4th character on board, that's a healer, and then you can play it naturally from your hand.
Yeah, but more generally, I think this card, having access to it with the bar top end, the double R's we talked about at the beginning, I think that's actually really strong and another draw for the bar deck. So I want to give the Shirabe event a 4 because of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's the draw to playing the early play package, in my opinion. And it turns half your level 3s into early plays, so that's pretty good.
Alrighty. Sounds quite good. I'm excited to see the builds that are going to come out the set, because this is also the first time we've seen, or these characters have gotten early play events, right? Because
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Normally they inherently like early play, and then you can early play the second character if you control the first. So this is a lot cooler, right. I think.
Mm-hmm. I can't help but agree. This Shirabe is really sick, by the way. Memory kick, super useful right now. The fact that it heals when you play with the event, just gravy. And that's all the green cards. If you guys are ready, we can just move on to red.
Sure.
Okay. Starting off red with this Chris, 00 Chris. This is a Cheery for level 1 or higher cards. Exclamation point Cheery, I think. And when this is sent from stage to the waiting room, you may pay 2 to salvage a music character from your waiting room.
This is a great card. I mentioned earlier, but Symphogear hasn't had access to free mill, and I think specifically getting 1 or higher cards lets you also find your events, which are like a key point of the set.
Yeah, it's a super relevant card in my opinion. And it not only is it a Cheery, that's already a pretty good ability, it also has a stock out for, let's say, standby decks, where you can pay out nasty first triggered climaxes in combination with a brainstorm or something else. And it even pluses you then. I would give it a 4.
Yeah.
It's just all you want, even with a cool character.
Sounds good to me. This next card, 3/2 Maria. If you have either her early play event or Tsubasa's early play event in your level zone, it gets 3k power. So it'll be 11k all the time if you meet that requirement. And has a climax combo with the standby pictured in the bottom right. This activates up to once per turn at the end of this card's attack. If you have a standby and another music character, you may pay 1, ditch a music character to choose the 3/2 Tsubasa. Not pictured, but we'll talk about it later. It's a specific Tsubasa in the set, number 86. You may choose that or this, stand it, and then for the turn, the card you stood gets the following 2 abilities. The first ability is during this card's battle, your opponent can't play backups. And the second ability is this can't be targeted by your opponent's effects, so hexproof.
I think this card is pretty cool. It's once you see what the Tsubasa does, it's reminiscent of like the Lisa Aya Bang Dream deck. Not a huge fan of the power condition or not having an on-play effect though.
Yeah, the card for sure has its downsides in not having an on-play ability or something else, and the power condition is in a standby deck where you're most likely gonna see this one, kinda iffy in my opinion. But still, the combo is pretty good, and therefore I would give it a 4. Having a finisher on a standby,
Yeah.
even as a 2-off, it's a good card.
Sounds good to me. Wait. Okay. Next card. It's a 3/2 Chris. If you have 2 or more other music characters, this gets 1k power, so it'll be 10/5 all the time. This also heals on play, and when it attacks, if you have a Kaival, which is the early play event pictured below in your level zone, you may pay 1, ditch 1 to burn 1.
So, pretty excited that Chris gets her first healer after 9 years. But this is a pretty all-around solid card, I think, actually.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. It's very generic actually, but it says heal 1, get power, and maybe even burn 1. It was design-wise probably meant for waifu deck though. So I would give it a 4. Still? Yeah. 4 still sounds good.
It's definitely a really good Chris to bring out with the event.
Yeah.
Next card. 0/0 Maria. On play, you may surveil the top card of your deck, and when you play a climax, you may pay 1 to look at the top 4 cards of your deck, choose 1 level 1 or higher card from amongst them, add to your hand, and then send the rest to waiting room.
So Symphogear already has Amagi effects, but I like this one because it's red and because it can find your events.
Yeah, that's also for me the reason why I like it. It can also make every generic brainstorm a 5 brainstorm, so that's also kind of a neat thing. It can put on play standby targets also in the bin, or climaxes from the top in the bin, just to not trigger them on first attack.
Yeah, so what do you
Let's
think?
give it a 4.
Sure.
All around good card.
Card. 1/0 Chris. On play, if you have 2 or more other music characters, you can draw 1, ditch 1. And when it gets sent to the waiting room, you may pay 2 to search for a music character and add it to your hand.
I wish this was a level 0. I really don't like this card as a level 1.
Yeah, as a level 1, it's kind of... But I can see the applications in a standby deck. But yeah. Already the requirement to have 2 or more other characters on play is pretty downer. I would give it a 2 though. I think it's a good card to have in a standby deck. Because after thinking, my first impression was like, wow, that's shit. But then I thought, it still gives you a stock out after the turn when it goes to the bin, and that's already quite something in my opinion. At some point you get problems in a standby deck to have meaningful stock outs that do something.
Sure. That's a perspective I didn't have before, so it's pretty interesting.
Fair enough.
You probably just run a low count of it, but it's a nice thing to have, I think.
Not bad to have access to the draw ditch in second deck either. Second deck.
Yeah.
You can put targets in your bin. So 2 sounds fine to me. Next card, 1/0 Maria. This is a level 1 bomb, and it has Handle Core.
It's pretty solid, actually. We talked about this card a little bit before the show, and I didn't really like it the first time I read it, but then Garrett, explain your thoughts.
Yeah,
you changed my mind.
So Symphogear has not many good level 1 standby targets. It is a standby target you can play, and it stays on board because it has Hand on Core. And also in standby mirrors, where your opponent runs needlessly big walls on level 1, that probably are level 1, you can kind of force an equal resource exchange with this. So I think it's a 3 because it can be pretty good meta-wise, but it's probably just a 2 because it's a generic good card you can run a low count of.
Sure. I definitely see it being meta sensitive, but when it's good, it's probably really good.
Yeah,
Right.
just thinking about when I play Data Life and someone has level 1 reversals, I'm pretty mad.
Sure.
Next card. That sounds good to me. 2/2 Maria. This is an assist in front for 1500 power, and when you trigger a standby, you may draw one, ditch one.
I like this card a lot for the standby decks. Both the second effect is nice for setting up later standbys, but the assist effect is really important because Symphogear doesn't really have a big 1/1. I think that's like my biggest thing I like about this.
Yeah, having the 1500 assist is pretty good. It's the second one in the series, actually. The first one was a Hibiki. But the second text printed on it is pretty irrelevant in a standby deck, in my opinion, since you have at some point trouble getting stuff you want, and having more access to more draws is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see in a bit that you have quite a bit of top deck manipulation in your standby shell, so this card gets even better.
Yeah.
I would give it a 4.
Me too.
Sounds good. Next, another 2/2 Maria, actually. For every other music character on your board, this gets 1k power, so it's a 9/5 with a full board. When it attacks, you may look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose 1 card from amongst them, put it on top, and then send them to the rating room. And it also happens to have Hana Core.
So this is super reminiscent of like Nijigasaki, I guess. I think this card is great. The old 2/2 target is a 2/2 11k, which is, it's big, but this trigger manipulation is really good with 8 standbys.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. It's one of the main draws for me to play, actually, standby Symphogear deck. It has a head on core, so this means it stays on board. It is kinda big in conjunction with the 2/2 assist from before. It gets 11k, that's most of the time enough on defense. And for offense, you probably have some way to pump power to get over nasty things.
Mm-hmm.
And the top deck manipulation even gets better the longer the game goes on. So I would give it a 4.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, sounds good. This is a pretty good card. 3/2 Chris. On play, choose up to 1 character from your hand whose level is equal to or lower than your level. Play it on stage in any slot, and then that character you played gets 2k power for the turn. And it's also a blinker on play, so it'll send a character memory, send an opponent's character memory, and then your opponent can play it on stage in any slot.
This card's like fine. There's already the drop searcher blinker, which I think I'd be more inclined to run if I wanted a blinking effect, but having variety, I guess, isn't the worst thing.
Yeah, the card is okay. I'm still confused about the combination of abilities on it. Upside is you can get it out with the event and then play some 2/2s from your hand for free. So you pay 1 stock, 1 card from hand for 2 soul things and blink something. It's still not more than a 2.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. 0/0 Chris. This is an event searcher for the Chris early play event. So on play, you may touch a music character, to search for any Kaiball event and add it to your hand. This works for all previously printed Kaiballs, which are pictured below, and on attack, console.
Yeah, so this is the same as the Shirabe early play event searcher, and I already said I liked some of the options Chris has to early play with, so I like this card quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a good card. You have a few good targets you can play. I'm still not sold on how good the card will in the end turn out. I would give it therefore a 3.
Sure.
You have good things you can play, but is it the play in the deck? I'm not sure.
Totally appropriate rating then. 00 Maria. Uh, this is Maria's event searcher. So on play, you may ditch a music character to search for the event and add it to your hand. There is only one other Maria early play event. And also on play, you may ditch a music character to reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Your opponent chooses a character or an event from among those cards, and then you add that chosen card to your hand and ditch the rest of the cards.
So the thing I like more about this is the same as the Hibiki one we already talked about, and the thing I like more about this is access to like a double discard outlet for standby. And if you're playing standby with the Maria level 3, you're going to be playing this. So I think that all seems like promising synergy.
You think this is the play? Okay.
Well, I mean, I just mean like if you want to play the Argate Lime stuff, like you may as well try this.
Yeah, the discard outlets are very meaningful for a standby deck since Symphogear kind of lacks good discard outlets on color. I'm not sure if this event searcher is for the event search the card you want to play. I would give it a 3. It can be the event you want to go for, but
Sure.
it also could turn out it's just a good discard outlet.
Right. I agree with that. It's important to note that the Maria I referred to also gets the power condition with Subasa's event, so we're saying that you could also play with that for that top end.
Alright. Next card. 1-0 Chris. During a turn, this gets 1k power, so it's 5500 power, and it's a Shimakai on attack.
We did it, boys. We got a level 1 Shimakai in Symphogear.
We did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a 5500 power Shimakai. It's very simple, very basic, fulfills a need. Probably a 2.
It's a 2 for sure. It's nice though that you get a lot of different power pumps in this set specifically for every possible color.
Yeah.
Next card. 2-1 Chris. If your opponent has 3 or less climaxes in their waiting room, this gets -1 level in hand, so it is an early play. And when this card's battle opponent is reversed, you may pay 1, send the standby climax from your climax zone to the waiting room, pictured in the bottom right. Not the same standby that the Maria combos with. And if you did that, look it up to the top 4 cards of your deck. Choose up to 4 cards from among them that are either a music trait or a Kaival, the event. Add them to your hand, and then stitch the rest. And additionally, this gains the following ability until the end of your opponent's next turn. When this is front attack, you can bounce it back to your hand.
It's a +5. It's sweet. I don't really like the early play condition on this. That's the part I'm least certain of with this card.
Yeah, for sure. The early play condition is kind of a point of concern, but overall the card reads pretty good to me. And
Right.
I tried to pay a little bit attention during the games I watched recently, and you could play it most of the time. Worst case is you play it on level 2, have a 9k thing that reverses something to get at best 5 cards back. So I
Right.
would give it for sure 4.
Okay.
Even if you just play it on level 2.
Sounds good to me. Next card. 0-0 Maria. On play, you may give -1k power to one of your opponent's front row characters. And on attack, you may give one of your other characters 1k power for the turn.
So it's another like flavor of power pump, I guess, but with the added potential of just killing certain small utility zeros that may be in the front row.
Yeah. Having the ability to kill low power stuff in your opponent's front row means you can push more damage, and standby decks usually don't push damage, so you can generate more soul with this. That's for sure a big application for me. Also, it reads gives something 2k power. I would give it a 3, I think. Yeah. Depending on how the meta shapes out, if there are a lot of things to kill with 1k or below power, this might actually be a pretty good and annoying card for your opponent. Just thinking about the Sword Art Alicization with on reverse Ricky with 1k power. 500 actually, right?
I think it's 500, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can for sure remove nasty stuff.
sounds pretty good to me.
Moving on. 00 Chris. It's a global 5 for all your other music characters, and it combos with this door. When you play the door, you may rest this card to stock a music character from your waiting room.
I don't think this card is good.
I don't think so either. It's a card, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, one sounds good.
Yeah.
yeah.
The next card. 00
Oh,
Maria.
yes.
Alright, so this has 2 soul, by the way, for a level 0 card. On play, this turn it gets 2500 power, so it'll be 4k, and then then it gains the following ability. Auto at the end of the turn, send this to the waiting room.
I really don't know what I think about this card, but it's funny that it has 2 soul. I think Garrett, you've thought more about this card than me. So what do you think?
I actually like this card a lot because it's a level 0 with 2 soul. So you kind of play it dies. That's kind of okay. But then you can standby it out if you stay on level 0 and still have a 2 soul beta.
That's
If
interesting.
you happen to trigger it, it can remove a thing and it dies. So it opens up a slot, and in a standby deck you probably will have a slot you want to over standby something if you trigger the power switch on attack. So this would be actually a good target to just place the card on. And having 2 soul, I'm not sure how important this might be in the future, but it certainly is a thing.
What would you rate it?
I would give it a 3.
Hmm.
It has
Yeah.
potential to be nice in a standby deck, but it can also just be worthless.
Yeah,
But
the
also
theory
it
is
is.
there. I think.
I'd also like to note that clean cuts are pretty standard now. The fact that this can reverse something and then dodge clean cuts the next turn is actually pretty good. Like a lot of cards that get power on play kind of runs that issue, right? Where like
Mhm.
you want to reverse like an oversize or something and they have a clean cut follow up. This dodges that clean cut and makes that clean cut essentially useless for them. So
Yeah.
that is like a pretty common application. You might, be playing this card in. So, God. Okay. I think 3 is appropriate. This card is like really weird. Very unique.
Yeah.
Literally never
exactly.
seen this card before, so we'll see. I'm excited to see if people actually play this.
The future.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they at least try to push more different abilities recently.
Yeah, for sure. 00 Chris. This can't side attack, and when this is reversed, your opponent may draw 1, ditch 1. I think
Draw 1, ditch 1, give 1.
You can just go ahead, Tom.
it's a 1. But this
Yeah.
art is so cool. She has a scouter. Okay.
But she
yeah.
already has a 4k oversize with a
Yeah, but
better than merit.
does that card art have her wearing a scouter?
It's
It's
not.
such
It's,
a-
it's like
but
a.
wasted.
it has her wearing a swimsuit.
Ooh.
1-0 Maria. If you have another 1-0 Tsubasa pictured below, this gets 4k power, so it'll be 6-5 all the time if you have that Tsubasa. And when your character triggers a climax, you may choose one of your characters and pump it 2k power.
I think this pair of cards is just a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If at all.
Moving on. 1-1 Maria. This is a 2k Leaf counter.
Are you okay?
It's like,
I'll just talk about the card.
yeah.
It's a good. Symphogear actually has some pretty good, a good selection of utility sort of punches. So I think being able to just have another one. Like they already have a level 2 Leaf counter, but having it at level 1 can be useful too.
Yeah, it can also set up your waiting room in a standby deck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a discard outlet to some degree. I would give it a 2.
Yeah.
Just to mention, Symphogear had also a level 1 Leaf counter before, but it was just 1/5 power.
Oh, updated.
Yeah.
Future.
Wait, which one was? Who was it?
It's a Baza one.
Okay.
From
Was it a promo?
GX? No.
Was it? Are you sure? It might have
has
been
a promo
reprinted.
version.
Oh, okay. So it was one of the reprinted promos. I think.
Gotcha.
No, it is a normal card in the set, but it is also a CD promo.
Okay.
It's from GX, I believe. Not sure.
Next card, 1/1 Chris. If you have another music character, this gets 1500 power and the following 2 abilities. First is when it attacks, look it up the 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose 1 card, put it on top of your deck, and then send the rest to the rating room. And as Hana Core. Those are the 2 abilities. And then when this card triggers a soul trigger, it gets 1k power until the end of your opponent's next turn.
So I'm really up on this card. It's just more top deck manipulation for the 8 standby deck, and I think this and the Maria and the possibly even the old 1/0 Tsubasa with this ability, it's going to make the deck really consistent.
Yeah, it's for sure a very good card. It's also one of the better standby targets you can play on level 1.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's not super big, it gets already 7/5 if you standby out the 2 Maria assist, so that's kind of relevant. I would give it a 4.
Me too.
I think the top manipulation scheme is pretty strong in this one.
Yeah, another card that's very reminiscent of Nijigasaki, I think. That card's a banger as well.
Similar to the 1/1i.
Yeah. Final red card? No, we have more. But this is the 2/1 Chris early play event. It does the same thing, except it's just Chris focused. There are 2 previous Kaiball events. They're pictured below. They're from older sets. What do you guys make of this card?
Chris has some sweet level 3s, so I think this card is pretty sweet. But they're like, to me, they're like techie level 3s. They're not necessarily game plan level 3s, so I don't know about building your deck around like Kaiball.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do we have a slide for the level 3?
We have 2. We have this Chris from XDU, and we have the GX Chris. So we can talk about each in turn, but
Yeah, I think this Chris, this card is one of the primary targets you want to standby out actually in a standby deck, and -1 soul, hand on core, and even having the possibility of burning your opponent on this card is pretty good.
Yeah, this is early playing it though with the event. It's a little unfortunate that it doesn't have a on play effect from hand, but it's super stacked as a standby target because of that. Yeah. So it's a little awkward.
Also to note, it has a card for encore for a red card, so you can also ditch your standby climaxes if you are overloaded with them.
Right. I just want to make sure of that real quick, because on the slide, yeah, it is red card encore, not red character encore. Just want to thank you for bringing that up. And we just talked real quick about this Chris. You included it as a meme, Garrett, but I think, this card has potential.
It's not a meme.
I called it a meme. Garrett was serious about this,
right.
So I'll let him talk about this. I think this card is sweet for what it's worth. I love this card.
So the card itself has a lot of text. It has 3 soul, 11k base, a downside, and even a climax combo. That's decked already. The downside is you have to play some kind of event with it, unless you want to pay 3 stock all the time to encore it. The events do things, but I'm not sure how many of them you want to play before level 3. Well, the damage scry is a major thing that can negate a lot of damage during the turn. Turns it is out, and 11k base is a huge number.
Yeah, she's big, and getting the damage scry out at level 2 is like especially good. Just have more turns to take advantage of it.
I still think though it's probably more of a standby target than a card you want to early play with the event.
Right.
That's fair enough.
So ultimately, what do you think you'd give the Ikai Ball event?
I would just give it a 2. It's a cool card. You can do some nice things with it, but it's not game breaking or you want to build deck around it. In my opinion.
Yeah, that's the biggest
I'm
problem.
wrong on this one though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what people come up with. Symphogear has a lot of old cards.
Yeah.
I think
Even a lot of old finisher combos in different kinds of forms and shapes.
And the final red card. This is Maria's early play event. There is only one other Maria early play event. You guys not give any Marias that you thought were good, so I guess that explains what you guys think of this event. But what do you guys think about this event, and what would you rate it?
I would give it a 3. It's just there to support the Maria level 3 like burner or restand combo if that's a route you want to go and you want access to the Maria 0/0 as opposed to taking the Tsubasa line with it.
Yeah, that's kind of also my thought on it. There are maybe a few level 3s you can bring out, but nothing you actually want to do.
Right.
I'm still not sure how good the Maria event is as opposed to the Tsubasa one. Having access to the resend combo on level 2 could be a thing you want to do, but I'm not sure how frequently this comes up.
Right.
Fair enough.
3 sounds good.
Alright. And that's it for red. Those of you who have noticed, we have not covered any of the Alchemist cards so far. They will be covered after blue. So, if you guys are both ready, let's just get right into blue, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty. First blue card, 1/0 Tsubasa. During a turn, if you have a music character, it gets 1500 power, so it'll be 6k on turn. And then when it reverses a character and you have the pants, picture the bottom right.
It's not the pants.
It's not the pants, but it is a pants climax. And you have another music character, you may pay the cost, which is ditching a music character, to search your deck for up to 2 music characters and add them to your hand.
I think this card is pretty good. I'm mostly interested in trying this with the bar top end we talked about earlier to try to, sculpt those sorts of hands we were talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly my thought. It's 7k, so you probably can make sure to get some kind of reverses. And searching 2 cards from your deck is a pretty good thing. It even can give you quite a bit of first deck compression if you pull off multiple ones. So it's good. Yeah. I would give it a 4. It's a solid card you want to play. Probably not in 100% of the decks, but it sure has applications if you like the character and the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next card, 3/2 Tsubasa. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, this gets -1 level in hand, so it's an early play. It gets 500 for every other character on board, so it's going to be 11k with full board. And on play, you may ditch a card to heal the stock.
This is a great addition to Symphogear. It's like such a simple basic card, but it's really something I think the set needed.
Yeah, I can totally agree on this one. It's for sure a card you want to play if you play blue in any kind of shape. So generic good card.
Yeah.
Yeah. 0/0 Tsubasa. So this is the Tsubasa early play event searcher. So on play, you can ditch a music character to search for Ame no Habakiri, which is her early play event. There are 3 other Ame no Habakiri events that have been printed. And when you additionally, when you play this on stage or hand, you may ditch a climax to salvage a music character from your waiting room.
Yeah, so I like the Ame no Habakiri stuff a decent bit. this pairing with a like a Climax Ditch Salvage is a good pairing if you end up playing this in a deck that plays Pants. But even if you don't, it's a nice utility effect to have, I think.
Yeah, I can totally agree on this one. And just thinking about the level 3s Tsubasa has, there are some of them you might want to play early, so even in a standby deck, this might be more considerate to use this event than the Maria one. Therefore, I would give it a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. 2-1 Tsubasa. As a Climax combo, at the beginning of your Encore step, if you have the book?
Book.
It's a book.
It's a book? Okay. If you have the book in the Climax zone, and this is in the front row, you have another music character, and the slot Acropolis either has no character or a reverse character, you may search your deck for up to 2 music characters and add them to your hand. Oh, sorry. Search your deck for up to 2 music characters, add them to stock in any order, and then shuffle your deck afterwards. And this also happens to be an anti-change bottom deck bomb.
I think that's the only ability that matters, the anti-change bomb, so it's fine.
Yeah, I agree on this one. It's nothing groundbreaking, it's a 2.
Yeah.
I'm good to beat. Man, she's drinking boba.
She is.
What a waste of the art, man. It's so cute. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Next card. Why couldn't you be drinking boba for this one? 3-2 Tsubasa. If you have either her early play event in level zone or the Maria level early play event in level zone, this gets 45 power, so it'll be 10k with the condition. On play, you may heal 1. And when this card attacks, you may pay 1 to reveal the top card of your deck. And if that card is a music character or either early play event, you may burn 1.
So this is the level 3 referred to by the 3-2 Maria. So using that card's restand combo, you can kind of make a Marika, like burner that restands. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I also like this a lot. Also, she heals on play, so if you play it from hand, it's not a dead card.
Yeah. It's only 10k though, which is not the best, but you could play it from hand, get the event in memory to get your memory condition, or not, sorry, your event in level to get your experience condition, and then heal, burn 1 if you want. It's a pretty cheap burn effect.
Yeah, that's true. So if you have 2 of the Marias out, it can give you about 8 instances of damage. That's pretty good if you use the combo. And if you use the event on level 2 to play this, you get to heal 1 and have an early play that kind of burns if you need to. Is it a 4 or a 2? I'm not sure.
I think it's a 3. I think it only really gets played with the Maria, and I'm still not totally sure if that's the play itself.
Okay, yeah.
Sounds like a 3 to me.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's 4 or 2. Yeah, definitely a 3.
That's how numbers work.
0-0 Tsubasa. On play, you may pump one of your characters 1500 power, and on attack, you may choose one of your music characters and give it 1500 power.
Yet again, just another solid power pump addition to the set. So, nothing groundbreaking, but it's a good card.
Yeah, it's a 2. Nothing to write home about it.
Yeah.
Card. Another 0-0 Tsubasa. This one is a A1 Climax Swapper on play.
Symphogear has had Climax Swappers before, but they all have their own problems, so this is most flexible, so it's actually a very welcome addition.
Yeah. The swappers we had before were on dev or on a level 1 that's green. Not surprising, right? Seems like a thing. So I would give it a 4. It's a solid inclusion in every deck.
Or in like every deck with combos at least.
Yeah, I guess.
1-0 Tsubasa. If you have another 1-0 Maria that we talked about before, this gets 3k power, so it'll be 6k power all the time if you have the Maria. And then on attack, you can pay 1 to Twin Drive.
I called this a 1 when we talked about the Maria, and my mind has not changed.
Yeah. It's so true.
Next card. Another 1/0 Tsubasa. At the beginning of your climax phase, if you have another music character, this gains one of 2 abilities of your choosing until the end of your opponent's next turn. The first ability is when this card's battle opponent is reversed, it clean cuts. And then effect B is Free-Runner at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase.
This card is awkward as a level 1.
Yeah, that basically sums it pretty good up.
Yeah, I mean,
Both abilities are good together. Both abilities are good, but not together. And certainly not on the level 1. I don't see many applications for this one.
yeah, it's probably just a 1.
Yeah.
If we're level 0 though. Woo.
Well, if it were a level 0, we'd just be playing Kaguya.
That's very true. 2 in Tsubasa. When you use this card as a backup, send X. You may mill the bottom X cards of your opponent's deck, and then X is the number of music characters on board. Ruby backup. Yeah, inverse Ruby counter.
Yeah, I don't. I find with these kinds of cards, the times you want to use this as a punch and the times you want to mill your opponent don't really line up. So I've never really been a fan of these, mill your opponent counters.
Yeah, it's nothing you want to play often in your deck. I guess Sanction does it because it doesn't have much of punches. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would just give it a 1.
Yeah.
Ruby has a lot of level 2 backups too, so.
Yeah, it's competing with a lot of other backups.
Yeah. Final blue card, I think. 2/1 Ameno no Habakiri. This does the same thing as every other early play event, but this only works on Tsubasas. And the event searcher is pictured below. All 3 previous Ameno no Habakiri events are pictured below as well. You can only play up to 4 of these in your deck, so take it away, guys.
Tsubasa probably just has, would you say Tsubasa has the best level 3s in the set, on average? As far as I know it's kind of a difficult question, but I think this probably has the best level 3s you could summon.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Tsubasa event has for sure the best level 3s you want to get out on level 2 with an event.
Yeah, I think what's nice about this is, aside from the new Tsubasas we're going to show off, you can even play the early play Tsubasa and play it out for 1 stock and then heal the stock, and it's like a 2-hand early play heal.
Yeah, if you don't fulfill, for example, the early play requirement for it.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty good as a quote-unquote fail case. But let's check out those old Tsubasas.
Just 1. I think there's only 1. Oh, no, yeah, there are 2. There are 2. Okay. 1 from XDU and 1 from GX, but we'll talk about the XDU one first, I guess.
Yeah, I love this card. It's a healer. It's 10-5 and memory kick, and then it has a generic pay 1, discard 1 on reverse burn. It's been a cornerstone staple in Symphogear since it came out.
Yeah, it's probably the best single level 3 in the series, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So getting this out on level 2 can give you potentially 3 lanes where you can memory kick stuff.
Yeah.
That's already a big upside. And being above average size with 10-5 is also pretty neat. The card has basically just upsides.
Yeah. Pretty versatile too. No character requirements or anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the GX Tsubasa.
Again, I called this card a meme when Garrett brought it up before the show, but it's a pretty cool card, but I'm gonna let him take over on this.
Yeah, it basically has the same problems as the level 3 Chris we have seen, so you need to have one of the Ignite modules in memory to keep it on the board, but it's oversized. It can give something 4K. This means you can produce 2 lanes, at best 3 to stay on board. That's pretty neat.
Yeah,
It's for sure not a card you want to play a lot of in your deck, but maybe as a one-off, just to have it, would be nice.
Yeah, I've definitely played it in standby with the like an ignite module, like the level 2 ignite module, the red one. And it's been nice to win 2 lanes super hard when I was playing that. So, I think that still applies today.
Yeah.
So overall, like, what do you think the Amino Habakiri package is?
The event probably is still just a free for me, even though you can get a lot of good cards out, because the deck needs to be explored first.
Sure.
It's for sure a solid card, but I'm not sure in which combination you want to play those events if you play them.
Right. I think there's going to be a lot of exploring with that. A lot of testing to do.
Yeah. 7 cents.
Can't wait to get my playset on Monday.
And then we're gonna go straight into alchemy, no intermission this time.
Let's
we'll
go.
Save it we'll power through alchemy and then the promos, and then we'll have the final intermission. So the first alchemy card. Oh wait, is this?
Bro, this is the Miku that we skipped.
Oh, oh
Sure.
no, unfortunate. Okay. All right. So, it must be because of the way she looks in this one, but 0/0 autoscore lure. So when this is played from hand, you may ditch any card to choose a level 0 lower autoscore Farah from this set, or
It's just the one from this
only
set.
only the one
The
from
old
this set
Farah's a
because
level
the old
1.
Farah is a level 1. Yeah, but they do share the same name. Played on stage in a slot until the end of the opponent's next turn. This gets +1 level. And when this card is reversed, you may pay 1, clock the top card of your deck to salvage an alchemy character from your waiting room. And this shares the same name as the previous lure from GX.
Yeah, so if you're playing alchemy, you're going to be playing 4 of each auto score, and how you choose which version of the auto score, that's probably going to be up to you. But this effect to give +1 level is actually really strong for alchemy.
Yeah, having alchemy characters that get suddenly 1 additional level means that if your opponent wants to play around your stuff going to memory, he suffers from the lower damage output he does. So that's
The side attack
actually
soul
a
penalty.
very relevant thing. Take a
Also
game
can't-
where you just
Bottom deck bomb or anything, right? Because they're level 1.
that's also
Right. Yeah.
Back in
One
the
thing
day, people tried to counter this quote-unquote deck type with just siding all day long, and now they have to kind of suffer for it.
Right.
Pretty neat.
The only thing I want to point out, though, compared to the old layer, which is instead of a clock salvage, it's a clock search. The level 1 combo that you're likely playing in alchemy has some hand sculpting requirements, so that the old one might be better because of that. But if you can sculpt your hand just fine, then I think this is actually a great card.
Yeah. I would give it a 4.
Sounds good to me. Keeping in mind, you can only play this in alchemy, but alchemy seems like a pretty good deck. So next card, 2/1 Shemha. This card has 2 soul. Experience 5. If you have experience 5 and you have no other characters on your stage, this gets 12k power and 3 abilities. The first ability is during this card's battle, your opponent cannot play events or backups from hand. The second ability is on attack, you can pay 1, ditch 1 to trigger 3 times. And finally, when this reverses a card, you may discard 3 cards to burn 1 twice to your opponent. And then as another act ability, you can sack a character to pump this card 1500. You can sack a character to pump one of your characters 1500 power.
This card is bad.
Yeah. It's
just a
funny,
1.
it's on flavor, but it's bad.
Yeah.
What a meme, though.
Yeah, dude. That's what we're here for, talking about memes.
Next card, 2 on Elf9. You can play this card without meeting color requirement. It's a 2k assist to level 3 or higher characters in front. And if you have 5 or less cards in memory, you can pay 1 rest this to choose an alchemy character in your waiting room and send it to memory. You can do this if you have 6 or more cards in memory, but why would you do that?
Oh, you can still pay the cost?
You can still pay the cost, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So this card's pretty good, honestly, as like a role player. It buffs your 3/2 Carols, the old, I guess 3/3 Carols, the old Carol early play. But also it helps you get there if you don't have the memory requirement.
Yeah, I think it's actually a stable card in an alchemy deck, at least as a one-off, and therefore I would give it a 4.
Yeah.
No color requirement, also pretty nice. I assume the intent is so it acts as color fixing for any Shemha cards?
Yeah, I think it's more that the old Carol level 3 is red, the new Carol level 3 is green, or sorry, the old 3 is green, the new 3 is red, and your level 1 combo is blue. So I don't know why it's yellow, I guess, but...
Yeah, I assume it's for the Shemha, that's the only thing I can...
Oh boy. Shemha's not even alchemy trait, by the way. Just saying.
0/0 Shemha. During your turn, all your other... There are 3 cards this works with. All your other 0/0 Elsa, picture below, 1/0 Millark, picture below, and 2/1 Vanessa, picture below, get 2k power. And additionally, it's a global 5 for all alchemy characters.
So, I like the package that this supports, but I think this card in particular is not very good.
Yeah, the package around it is pretty strong, actually, in my opinion. But this card is meh. I would just give it a 1.
Wait. This... Oh... What? But... Oh no! Oops!
Oh, come on, guys. Yeah, everyone's spoiled because no one's watched Symphogear except me and Garrett.
Oops.
Now everyone else knows.
Score Farah. On play, you may ditch a card to choose an auto-score lure from in your waiting room, play it on stage in any slot, and then until the end of your opponent's next turn, this card gets +1 level. And then when this card is reversed, you may pay 1 to send this card to memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's the +1 level effect that I like. The old Farah is like an on play, gains a bunch of power for the turn beat stick that also is pay 1 on reverse, send to memory. But I like this for both the plus level at 0 and to get back a layer that maybe you milled or took as damage.
Yeah, the discard applications are for sure there. I'm not sold on this for playing this over the level 1 though.
Yeah.
That's more like a personal thing. The card is still a 4.
Yeah. By the nature of the alchemy deck, I think a lot of these cards are going to be 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's certainly true.
2/1 Carol. On attack, this gets X power. X is the number of your other alchemy characters times 500, so it'll be 9/5 when you attack with this card. And when this card reverses a character and you have a pants climax picture at the bottom right in your climax zone, you may look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 alchemy characters amongst them, add them to your hand, ditch the rest, and then choose one of your characters to get 1k power for the turn. It should be noted, this is a kind of like a climax change package, Summer Pockets combo with the blue 1/0 we'll talk about in just a little bit.
Yeah,
this is coming out level 1. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah. I like this card a lot. It gives alchemy something to do at level 1, which is something it missed before, and actually it's gonna fill your hand up really nicely.
And it also will provide you with decent mill for free. I think the card has almost only upsides. The only downer for me is that the 500 power isn't all the time, but I guess that's how it is. I give it a 4.
Yeah.
Next card, 1/0 Carol. This is a Shiva Kai for alchemy characters.
What do you think of this card?
I guess you can play it to pump your level 2 carrot, but that's about it. It's a Shimakai for alchemy, I guess. 2?
Yeah. Play it maybe if you think you need it. But the Carol's going to be like 10-5 at level 1, so
Yeah.
maybe later in the game to help her fight some bigger characters. It has some application.
Yeah,
Alright.
it might have some applications for the Clock King.
That's
Good.
true.
Next card, 3/2 Alkanoise. You can run any amount of copies of this card in your deck as you want. This heals on play, and when this attacks with the gold bar climax in your climax zone, featured on the bottom right, you may stock swap your opponent. Infinite
can play
healers, guys! Infinite
42 healers. That's crazy. I don't think noise cards are super worth talking about, but I do, in fairness, want to mention that this bar combos with an old level 1 noise that stock charges. But otherwise, it's probably just a 1. Like,
Yeah, it's a 1 for a deck almost no one plays besides me, probably.
yeah. Like, I don't even have a noise deck.
3/2
Oh,
Carol.
baby. Look at all these cards.
Oh yeah,
on the
look at all
screen.
these cards. Alright, the first effect is very simple though. On play, you may pay 1 stock swap. And then when this attacks with the door climax pictured below all those cards, and you have all 4 of the auto scores in your memory, you may burn 2.
I think this card is really good. It's a undercosted burn. It's a free burn on attack with having the condition you played towards, and it's music trait, which means it probably goes in just about every deck.
Yeah, it probably will find its way in every deck that plays red to some degree, so I already, for the ability of stock swapping your opponent, it deserves a 4 in my opinion.
Also,
It
pretty
gives
good card for the alchemy deck, right? Did it have like a finisher like this before? No, right?
No, this is really good for the alchemy for being a free burn, but just the versatility of the card in being a stock swap option for the main deck, I think is really good.
Already.
If you ask me, I think alchemy might be the main deck.
Yeah, well, that's let me believe.
1/0 auto score Misha. You can play this without meeting color requirement. And on play, if you have 2 or less cards in your memory, you may choose a character in your waiting room with auto score in name and send it to memory. Additionally, you can pay 2, send this standing character to memory to check top 3, add 1. And they share the same name. There's another auto score of Misha that was printed before in GX.
Yeah. I like this because it actually gives you a couple ways to reach your memory requirement without combat.
Yeah, that's for sure one of the big upsides. Also, it kind of gives you a free memory card. Before you had blue one, I forgot her name.
Gallier.
Yeah, Gallier could go to memory for free if you successfully make a top check on reverse, but this one is just on play, send something to memory, and it's pretty relevant in my opinion to have access to cards that go to memory for free, since the stock crunch in this deck is pretty huge.
Yeah.
That's why I considered pool climaxes before in the deck.
Sure, so probably a 4. The old Mika is a level 0 reverser, so you're not losing a whole lot of utility by playing this over that one.
You actually just get more.
Yeah.
Next card, auto score Gallier. This shares the same name as the previous one in GX. When this is reversed, you may pay 1, ditch 1, send this to memory to draw 1. And it is also a pay 1, rest 2 brainstorm for search brainstorm for alchemy characters.
It's nice. The old brainstorm was already tap 2, so it's a little disappointing that we're still tap 2, but it being an auto score opens up the deck to some more flexibility.
Yeah, having this card instead of Olgelia gives you the flexibility of not needing to run 8 cards on level 0 to have Brainstorm and her to go to memory. but just 4. This already makes it a 4 in my opinion.
Right. You can also rest the elf 9s that change into Carol, which is like a cute thing you can do with rest 2 brainstorms.
That's for sure. A
Very nice synergy,
big
actually.
thing, actually.
Yeah.
4 sounds fair to me. 1-0 Elf 9. So, this is the counterpart to the Carol we talked about before. But first, on play, you may mill 2 cards, or you have to build 2 cards. And if you build a climax, you may ditch 1 to salvage a character from your waiting room. Not trait restricted at all. Additionally, when you play the pants, pictured in the bottom right, you may send this to waiting room to play the 2-1 Carol from your hand.
I think this is great. You have to play it, basically. But it being one of these like combo changers, or whatever you want to call it, like Summer Pockets combos, the ability for the chance to sculpt to try to finish your explosive level 1 turn, I think, is a nice addition.
Yeah, I also think it's nice that it has actually a decent amount of power and is not just 2 or 3k like the other ones.
Probably the best
Yeah.
1-0 like change thing I've seen, actually. That first effect is really good.
I think the draw is more relevant in getting the climax in hand. But I can see why you say this.
Rating, guys? 4?
4.
Next card, 0-0 Elsa. So this is one of the cards mentioned by the Shemha.
The Shemha.
This is a free runner and a level 0 bomb.
It is a solid card. It is a free runner for alchemy.
Yeah, I think this card is actually pretty nutty and would give it a 4.
Yeah. Also, like, in context, this has another interaction that we're going to talk about shortly.
Alrighty. 1-0 Millar. On attack, choose one of your other god or alchemy trait characters, and it gets 1k for the turn. And this card also has pay 1 Twin Drive. This is the second of the 3 cards mentioned by the Shemha we saw earlier.
Yeah. I don't like this card a whole lot for the effect, the text on the card. So for me, rating it is a little strange. Like, how do you feel about it, Garrett?
So if you just look at the card in a vacuum, it's not even a 1 in my opinion. I think the card is pretty bad in
0?
the context of the alchemy deck. But if you look at the whole package, the card becomes actually better and is a 2 for me.
Yeah.
And we just
I think it's a 2 just because of the package as well.
Yeah.
And we get to the payoff. Very exciting. Where's UA? Where's UA? UA is gonna love this card.
Oh,
2-1 Vanessa. First attack is very boring. On attack, if the level of the character is attacking is 3 or higher, its turn gets 6k power, so it'll be 13k when it attacks. And then a second effect is very interesting. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can discard the 0-0 Elsa, the 1-0 Mill Arc, and sack this to choose one of your opponent's characters and rest it.
yeah. So it being a early play killer is pretty nice, but the second effect is something that I didn't think much of when I first read the card, but after speaking with Garrett, I've put a lot more thought into it, and I actually think it's pretty sweet in the alchemy deck.
Yeah, I think the card is pretty strong. So if you look at first ability alone, it's a level 3 killer. But it's already appreciated in most decks if you don't run bombs. And if you play the bag Shemha, your cards become needlessly big on your turn. So she would be 15k. That's basically enough to kill.
55. But yeah.
Yeah, 55.
5.
But the second ability, oh boy, I like this a lot. It's basically a rest counter and your opponent can't even avoid it, basically. You kill a level 3 and remove 1 attack from board. It's pretty insane, in my opinion.
Shades of Bernoulli from Alicization, UA's favorite Sao card of all time.
Yeah.
This might
Also,
actually be my favorite alchemy card of all time.
it's also worth noting that because the Carol 2-1 is a double plus, that I don't think putting this setup together is going to be that difficult. Like obviously you're limited to the top 4 cards of your deck per Carol, but you have a lot of chances to get a lot of cards in your hand.
Yeah, I would give it a 4.
Yeah.
In context of the Alchemy deck, probably even more, but yeah.
Yeah, let's get the promos
Promos.
out of the way real quick. There's only 4, I think. Maybe 5. I'm not sure. First promo.
Should be 6.
There should be 6.
Oh, right, because
There's 6 main characters.
Okay, 6 promos. 1-0 Hibiki. On play, it gets 500 for every music character, so it'll be 6-5. And then if you have 2 or more, you can pay 1 to give this card 1k power and anti-encore if you have 2 or more other music characters.
What do you think of this card?
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It
The standby killer.
Yeah, exactly. It removes threats with Encore. I would give it at least a 3 because it has potential to be actually pretty good.
Yeah. It's something I would definitely look at if you were interested in a deck with the choice stuff. But otherwise, yellow is like not the most splashable color, I think. So that's my only reservation. But it's a good effect, I think.
You can even just throw it in as standby deck yourself to step it out.
That is
If you
true.
want to be super spicy.
But then it wouldn't be. It's just 4k.
Yeah, but you can pay 1 to anti.
That's true. That's true. But
and fight with your beaters.
that is true. It could be a back row card. Next card. Next promo, rather. 1-0 Shirabe. This is a cost 0 Clock Bomb on reverse, and then you may rest 2 of your characters to give one of your music characters 2k power for turn.
It's an interesting second effect to have on the card. But you know, it's a level 1 bomb, I guess. There's not a whole lot to say.
The card is actually so the first ability of being a clock bomb is not very good because most of the time people don't run 1-0s anymore anyway.
Right.
So this
That's
becomes
true.
kind of irrelevant text. But the second ability is pretty interesting. Pumping 2k power is pretty neat. But still
Yeah.
just a 2.
If this could fight costed stuff, I agree. It would be a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Next card, 2-1 Kirika. This is a 3-5 backup if you're playing the game.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
cool.
playing the game. Yeah, I mean, probably just a 2.
Yeah.
Did Symphogear have a 3-5 backup before?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Should be.
Oh, has one now. Sure. 1-0 Maria.
Good Kirika cards.
When your other music characters attack this turn, this gets 2k power. Does this not proc more than once per turn?
It should, right?
Okay.
It's
okay.
like
So it'll be
it's
like
like an
8K.
old Yeah.
No, wait, yeah. 8k or level 1 sounds pretty good.
Yeah, was one.
Yeah. There are
This
no, the
card-
hospital Shirabe Kirika is a Lifa punch, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wait. Is it from XDU?
XDU.
Okay, that is a leaf counter, I think. Okay.
Come on, Ryan. I don't really like this card that much.
It's a 1.
Yeah.
You can.
But
throw
like
for
it does get really
space.
big, and it has Maria on it, so it's relevant for the heal punch, right?
2-1 Chris.
Ooh.
On play, this gets 1k for every music character on the board, so it'll be 12-5. It's not as big as the
Oh.
2-2 Shirabe.
Yeah, it's not as big as the 2-2 Shirabe. It's not as big as an early play killer, even though this, doesn't have to fight a level 3, but yeah,
Let's
it's a
move
1.
on. 0-0
got me.
Subasa. During your opponent's turn, if you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this gains. Oh, she's holding. This gets 2k
Yeah, dude.
power, so it's 4,500
It's
power. That's
how you remember. It's a mnemonic device. I think this is just another one.
Yeah, I
No,
agree.
I think it's a 2.
You
I
think
like
it's a 2?
Star.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
You think it's a
Sure.
2?
It
I think it's
matches
fine
Clean
too.
Cuts.
Yeah, that's fine.
4-5
So,
is,
fine.
is a lot on level 0.
It is really big. We did talk about clean cuts, and if this stays 4-5, they're gonna have to work decently hard, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of
More
promos.
PRs.
More PRs. 2-1 Miku and Hibiki. During your turn, this gets 1k power, so it'll be 8k. And then before this second effect, so when it attacks a level 3 or higher character, it gets 6k power, so it'll be 14k. Still not bigger than the Shirabe.
Yeah, still not bigger than the Shirabe, but it's in a different color.
True.
Still probably
Yeah.
just a 2.
Yeah, it's a 2.
Alright.
Like it's just a normal early play killer.
And then this is the last one, yeah. Last PR, 0-0 Chris and Tsubasa. Wait, they reused Boba art. Okay, I see.
Yeah. And the Chris is the 1-0 Chris.
Yes. If you don't control, if this is a lone, this gets 1500 power, and it's a center runner at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase.
This is cool. Like I don't. There's a lot to process in this set, honestly. And then I only saw this card like this morning, so I haven't really thought much about it. What about you, Garrett?
I think it's a nice addition if you want to play any kind of loner cards, but I'm not sure if you play with other cards. So it has the
Probably-
possibility of
Oh, I would just say probably not good in standby, but seems pretty good in like a 1k1 deck for sure.
I mean, it
Okay,
could
center
also
runner?
be a thing in standby. I'm not sure.
I mean, but you're usually gonna be playing a standby, right? Turn 1, like you I think you generally want to be playing.
Yeah,
Sometimes-
like if you
sometimes
can.
just don't.
Yeah, but I don't think I would
Yeah.
include this. Sure, 3 seems fine.
Yeah,
It's also worth noting that Symphogear has 3 mill runners already.
and a coin flip,
Oh.
and another coin flip that goes to deck.
Yeah,
This is
so
big.
you
do
have a lot of plussing zeros. But this is like a plussing zero unlike the other ones. So it's definitely worth trying, I think.
So if you play the coin flips, you probably want to play Viz as your level 0 beta.
Fair.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And as a
You feel-
loner, turn 1 as like a turn 2 play loner, if you want to slow down level 0 a little bit, this is a 4k attacker. We'll reverse most
Yeah.
things.
You can
And
also
that's
just hit Viz on level 0 first, then the coin flip. The turn after.
dude, the coin. The coin play sounds so sick, actually.
What
Alright.
happens when you don't flip though? You just
dude,
lose.
dude, we don't think about it. Dude. First rate,
That's
first
why
rate,
it's a
first
coin
rate.
We don't think about losing here.
First rate, first rate. But I just imagine playing this with the new coin flip. Oh my god. Okay. And she's drinking boba. I was so disappointed that the one in GX, the Mill 2 Tsubasa, that art. I was so disappointed that card is just bad. This is the new Tsubasa I can play. That's oversized.
You know how to
No.
play this set.
You don't know that.
I feel like I
I'm
know
with
you.
it. I'm with it. I'm with it.
You're
Alright.
with it? Okay.
And that's actually it for the set.